back, everybody. As you can tell, I'm on the roof of our travel trailer, and this fan here is roughly 3 years old, and I want to replace it out with this MaxxAir fan, which is a MaxxFan Deluxe. The one that's currently in here is a Fan-Tastic vent fan made by Dometic. And the reason I want to trade it out is this one here is a little bit noisy. It has 3 speeds, and this one should be a lot quieter. This one has 10 speeds, and it also has a hood that folds down, so while traveling it'll go down. You can run it when it's raining outside. It has a lot of different features which I'll go over later with you. I highly recommend for people that have a fan like this with the hood like this to get a hood that goes over this, because it protects this from the elements, the weather, and also it makes it so you can run your fan in the wintertime. If you're camping out in the rain, you can have this open, and the air will flow through and it'll protect it. So this fan is okay, but it isn't working for us, and so the hood that should be on this, I'm going to be installing them in other parts of this trailer, 2 other vents later, so watch for a video on that. So let's go inside the trailer and take a look at the inside, and we'll take a look underneath here. So here we are inside the trailer with the Dometic Fan-Tastic fan, and I have the camera at bed level where the pillows would be. And so I'm going to run this so you can hear how it sounds, and then I'm going to run it with the new one with the camera in the same position so you can hear how it sounds once it's installed. So here's as 3 speeds, so I'm going to do the first speed. Second speed. Here's the third speed, the highest speed. So as you can hear, it's pretty loud. It's actually vibrating the roof slightly too. So let's get this thing removed. There's screws here that I'm going to remove so I can pull this inside piece down. And I'm not going to bore you with me taking each screw out. And I'm going to take it down and then come back to you. We got the screws removed. Now I'll pull this down like that. Look up here. Yep, I see the wires. Wires are hanging down here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the fuse and kill the power to this, and then I'll go ahead and cut these wires here. And then after that's done, then we'll go up on the roof. So I got the power off to the fan. As you can see that red light? That's where I pulled the fuse. So what I did is I had the fan running and I went down and pulled fuses until the fan went off. Since it's not really labeled in this panel for the fan, that was the best way to find out how to do it. So I'm going to go over and cut the wires on the fan. Wires are cut. Let's go on the roof. Back on the roof here, I have the area protected where I'm working. I have my shoes off, and also something laying on the bed, so if anything falls on the bed, it's not going to make a mess. So my plan is, for my next video, I'm going to take and I'm going to install this fan that I'm taking out over the bathroom, so it'll draw moisture out of the shower area. And then I'm going to put a hood on it, just like I was talking about earlier. And then over there at the other end of the trailer, I'm going to put a hood on it also, so I'll be able to be protected from the rain getting in, and have the vents open to air the trailer out in the rains, and then also to protect from these getting all brittle and cracked and have to be replaced. So watch for that video. This Fan-Tastic fan has tape around it, so I think I can peel it up. I'm going to go ahead and peel it with this and see how it goes. So this tape is pretty easy to get off, so I was expecting it to be harder than this. So I'm just going to go ahead and go all the way around and remove it. So the tape came right off. I talked to the manufacturer of this trailer, which is Lance. They no longer use this tape. I tried to get some replacement tape to put back down so they don't. So I'm going to use the EternaBond tape instead when I go ahead and put the new one in. So now I'm going to try and get this up here. We'll see how that goes. It looks like they used some type of silicone adhesive under here. I was trying to use this plastic putty knife here, but it just wasn't getting it. So I'm working this under carefully, like that, around, and then getting it loose. So I'm going to work my way around and get this thing off. I'll tell you what, this is a job getting this off. I'm having to work around it slowly. I don't want to tear the membrane, but over there I think I did a little bit, but it'll still be okay. So now I just have the front side to get, and it should come off. Okay, I think I got it. I think I tore some of this membrane a little bit around underneath this flange, but I had to. It was really hard to get off. So here's what it looks like underneath. I'll put it over here. So you can see I did tear it up a little bit. That sealant they use is like really strong sealant. Now it seems to be coming off okay. Anyway, it kind of cut along here. But I'll tell you what, this wood they used here, the Luan, looks pretty strong. This roof is really easy to walk on. It's really stiff. It's pretty thick too. So I don't get any movement walking around here. And this glue is still sticking really good. So I have no bubbles in this roof whatsoever. So I feel really good about this roof. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, and then I'm going to take and try and get the new one in here. So let's go ahead and clean this up. I won't bore you with cleaning this whole thing up, but I want to show you a little bit so you can see how it's cleaning. This is like a silicone that they used on here. Which is good and bad. At least the silicone cleans up pretty good, but you can kind of see where I cut it there. So I was a bad American doing that, but there's nothing I could do about it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the edges with this acetone, and I just use the nail polish remover. It's a lot cheaper to buy and than buying at a hardware store. You just go to Walmart or Target or somewhere, or I'll leave a link to it in the description below the video. And it's 100% acetone. And then I'll just wipe around the edges and clean it up. I've got this cleaned up the best I can. I just measured this roof thickness. It's 2 5/8 inches thick. And then here's the importance of putting down a sheet or something to protect your bed below or anything else. See all the junk that has fallen down there and I've thrown down there. So now I'm going to go down below and take a look at the MaxxFan and see what I got to do to install this. Here it is unboxed. So here's what it looks like. It comes with the instructions, screws, and the remote control. I opened the packet with the screws and electrical connectors. There's 16 of these stainless steel screws that will go into the top flange that screws onto the roof. Then there's 4 of these white tip screws will go in and screw into the ceiling, and this flange will come up to the fan unit itself. And then we're going to end up probably having to cut this because the roof thickness is a lot less than this. Then these 4 screws will go to screw this fan assembly onto this flange that's on the roof. So there's 4 of those screws and 4 holes there. And then there's 4 electrical connectors, 2 female and 2 male. Here's the flange that goes on the roof. It's going to be like this onto the roof. So it says to use silicone around here, but I prefer to use the butyl tape. This is a butyl tape that I buy. It's a good quality butyl tape. Comes just like this, and I'm going to put a row here, right back here, and then here. So I'm going to double it up wide so it's got full coverage. You want to make sure you're doing it under the screw holes for sure. I found with this stuff, if it's heated up, if you have it sitting out in the warm air, then what happens is it's really hard to deal with. So I keep it in the refrigerator before I go to use it for a day, and then I'll pull it out and I'm going to go put it around, and then I'm going to set this in the sun with this butyl tape for a few minutes to make it soft, and then we're going to screw it down on the roof. I got it, but it doesn't look pretty. Got it all on. So as it gets warmer, it's harder to work with, and it's really hard to get it off that wax paper tape. So anyway, I got it, and now I'm going to set it in the sun for a minute, and then we're going to go around and put it on the roof. So here goes. I'm going to put this on here. This stuff here is going to ooze out a little bit, but that's okay. I can scrape it off. So I'm going to put it in here. Push it down. And then I'll go around and put the screws in all the way around here, and I'll work my way around, and I'll work it so that it oozes out the sides and gets nice and tight. What I like about this stuff is it doesn't harden, so in the future if you need to remove it, you can. I'm just going around, tighten these up till they're snug. I don't want to strip these. That'd be bad. I'll just work my way around. I'll just keep going around so this stuff oozes out the sides a little bit. I don't think I want to go much tighter. I'll strip these. I'm going to do one more here on this spot. And that's it. Now I'll go around and I'll scrape off the excess right here, and then come back to you. Here, I'll show you this way. I figured out how to do this. I just use my putty knife, go real easy around here, and then just go along here. It's not a sharp putty knife, so, and it comes off like that. So now that this is all tightened down, buttoned up, I'm going to put a EternaBond tape around here. Rather than using Dicor or any other sealant, I haven't had any luck with like Dicor because you have to constantly be checking it, and every 6 months you find cracks and you got to seal it up. With the EternaBond tape, it's down and it's down. So I got a video on our other trailer where I installed it on all the seams and around all the vents, and worked out great. So I'll put a link to that video in the description below this one, and also a 2-year review on it, how well it held up. I've watched a lot of videos on it. Some people have had it on it for years on their trailers, and it holds up. And I'll tell you, that 2-year review, it looked like the day I installed it. So I'm going this way, and then also in the 2-year review, I explained that if somebody asked, a bunch of people asked, well, what happens if you have to replace something like this in the future? Well, you can just cut along the edge, leave this down, remove it all, and then just put the new piece in and then retape over it. So just get a little wider tape and go over it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick this down, and I might show you how I do it just for a little bit, and then I'll finish it off. So I'll show you how I do this one side. I've done all the other ones. So there's a clear film back here. And you just rock this back and forth. And then it'll open up for you. Peel it back just a little bit. And then I'm going to put it down. I want to lay it down over on this side first. Don't push it here yet. So I just go along here as I pull the clear film off the back. And I just ride it right here. I want to get the screw edge first. I don't want to push down here yet. This is going past here a little bit. I'm going to cut some off. You can use regular scissors. If they're sharp ones, they work. If they're dull, they don't. I'll go along here, put it down, just like that. I get the top all pushed down tight, just with my thumb first. That. Then I use this roller. It's a screen roller. There's one edge that has a groove in it, the other edge doesn't. And then I just go along here, tight spots, like that. I go around the screws. So I'll end up going around all these screws, make them tight. So it's got enough down already so I don't have to worry about it. I'll come back and get them in a minute. Then I go here, around here. This works really good for working into the groove here. So if you're going over die core or something like that, seams, this works really good to push it in. Get it real tight. This sticks really good to die core, as long as you clean it. I kind of work it by hand down first. Then I come along with the roller. And the rolling it pushes it down to adhere it to each other. So the important part of all this is make sure you have a clean surface. So I cleaned it all with the acetone, but I usually use it's like a, what is it called? A rubbing alcohol or denatured alcohol. But I was able to use the other acetone when I cleaned all this up. So that's that. I'm going to roll this really good, go around it a few times, and it'll be sealed up, and then we'll go to the next step. So now this is all down. We got these anchor points here and here. It says to take this right here, crank it, says open, and we're going to open it by hand. It says you got to do this part, make sure it's open all the way. Set it down in there. First, I got to get the wires set down in there so they don't pinch. So it's down in place here. And now I'm just going to put the screws in here. 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And then I'll come back to you. Well, that was really easy. So just so you know, there's a gasket down here that comes in this flange. And so when you are going to put these screws in, you push the hood down real hard so that you can get these screws in, and they hold against that gasket right there. So this was easy. There's 4 screws, Phillips head screws. And now for the exciting part. Finally getting able able to remove this seal. So we're good, there's no cracks. I failed to mention the placement of this fan. So this is the front of the trailer, and so the vent right here is the vent is towards the back of the trailer. So if wind's hitting it when you're driving, it's going over it. So this is the way you want to place it. You don't want this in the front because the wind will be catching it and trying to flip it up. So that's it for the upper install part. And you might be wondering what this blue tape is here. Well, I'm going to add a 200 watt solar panel here, the 200 watt solar panel here, and a 200 watt panel here. And then I'm going to have, this one's existing, it's 190 watts. So I'm going to do a Victron system. It's going to be pretty elaborate. So with this system I have 4 100 amp hour battle-borne batteries, and I should be able to run my air conditioner for a short period with this system, and my microwave, and power all my outlets with it. So keep an eye out for that video coming out soon. I hope to get that project done within the next month or so. So keep an eye out for it, and you'll be really surprised at what I have going on here. Here we are back in the trailer. I've just stripped the wires on the power side and on the fan wires, and with my wire strippers. Let's put the connectors on. So here's the male connector, and I'm going to put it on the red wire. You could do opposite if you like. It's up to you. Put the wire all the way in, crimp this really tight. So that's the male. Then here I'll do the female connector on this one. Make sure you get all the wires in there to crimp it. And so you know, I still have the power off to this. I have the fuse still pulled. Put it in, crimp it, pull on it, make sure it's tight. So I'll make sure I put a link to my crimpers and my wire strippers in the description below the video. So what I'll do is I'll connect these onto here. But first I'm going to take and put these on so they're in the right spot, so I don't get them mixed up. Plug these together. So this way I'll know the red goes to the black, it's labeled positive, and the white goes to the white, and I'll crimp those on. I put the fuse back in. Everything is connected together. I've done a pull test. Everything's fine. Let's make sure that this thing works. I'm going to use a remote for this. I'm opening the hood on it. And then I'm going to turn the fan on. I have to get used to this thing. I've hit a bunch of buttons to make it work. So it works. So now what I'll do is go to the next step. The next step is putting on this garnish ring, is what they call it. It's more like a trim ring. And they say to measure up to the fan assembly down to the top of the ceiling. So for example, this is 3.5 inches. And then they say take that and then add a 1/2 inch, and then go right here. Let me do this. Measure up 3.5 inches, add a 1/2 inch to make it 4 inches, and then cut off the roughly 2 inches off of this. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that and see what I got. So I've measured all the other corners already, and I'm measuring this one. I have 2 inches. So where you want to measure to is make sure you do the corners, and because the groove that this trim ring goes into, or the garnish ring goes into, it waves. So if I measured over here, it showed 2.5 inches. So make sure you measure the corner measure all 4 corners, and I've measured, I have 2 inches all the way around on it. Some roofs are sloped, so you might have different measurements. So you might have like 3 inches over here and 2 inches over here. So you have to make sure that you measure that and get those measurements so you can mark up your garnish ring. So if you have 2 inches, and you'll add a 1/2 inch. So let's go down to the ring and I'll show you where that will be. So it looks like there's where it'll be, 2.5 inches, and I'd be cutting off roughly 3.5 inches off of this. But I have another idea how I'm going to do this and mark it. Let's go back up to the fan. Here's what I'm thinking about doing here. Just go like that, and then take and measure this, and I got 2 inches. Hold this a little better. I have 2 inches. So if I cut off, I'm going to say 2 1/4, just to be safe. I'll be okay. And it looks like it's the same all the way around. So I cut off 2 1/4 inches, and then this would be all the way up in there. Here's what it looks like. If I did it their way, I'd be cutting it right here at 2.5 inches, and my way, I'd be cutting off 2 1/4 inches. So it's actually 1 inch longer here. Marking it out this way, the way I just did it for this, might work better for if you have a slanted roof where you held it up in place and then took your measurements all the way around and then transferred them onto here. That might work. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to mark all the way around here to get ready to cut it. I've got this all marked down. I measured 2 1/4 inches. I put a pencil mark here. I used my straight edge, went straight across, marked it, and I did it all the way around. So now we just have to cut this. So let's get cutting. Here's what the instructions say to use to cut this. So let's give it a try. So that might take a while. Let's switch it up and go to more power. Let's do this. I like it. Much better. And I have a fine tooth blade on this, so it works out real well. So I'm going to finish cutting this. There we go, I cut it. So here's a tip. When you use a saw like this on plastic, don't go full speed. So you want to go slower, because if you go too fast, what it does, it goes along real fast. It gets the plastic hot, and then it melts together. So as you cut, it's melting back together as you go. So don't do that. So I'm going to clean up the edges. A lot of it will clean up just like this. And then I'll just use a file like that and clean up the edge. Now that the garnish ring is all done here, I didn't explain to you in the beginning, we have this snap cover that goes over it. It went over the old one. Like this, it's snapped right there. These little buttons were screwed through here, and then they snap to it. And so now what I want to do is this here, this other ring that goes on here, the new one, the holes aren't the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this around like this. I'm going to center it and clamp it just like that. So now I'm going to be doing it on the other area right here where there's no holes. These are clamped in place, and then I'm going to drill a pilot hole through here, and then I'll drill a little bigger hole, but I still want this to screw into this plastic a little bit tight so it bites onto it, but not too much where it splits it. So I'm going to go ahead and get these drilled right here, and then we'll be back to you. Now to see if this all fits. Let's hope so. So let's see, I'm going to go this way. I tucked all the wires out of the way, so hopefully they're out of the way. We will see. So they are. That goes up flush. That worked out. So now I'm going to screw this thing up here. I'm going to go snug. I don't want to strip it. So this is actually going in pretty good. Now for the snap parts here. There's 4 of these. And these covers came with the Lance trailer. So there's one for each vent skylight in this trailer, which is nice. Oops, wrong one. So let's snap this on and I'll show you how it works. So that works out pretty good. And they come right off, just like that. And they feel like they have some type of a insulation in them too. They're probably that foil stuff to keep it reflect the heat back out so it doesn't come in the trailer. Now that it's installed, I just want to go over a couple things on it. Here's the remote that it comes with. It comes with a holster that you can either screw to the wall or maybe use a command strip and stick it somewhere. So holds it pretty handy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. So I'm going to hit the power button, and what will happen is the hood will raise and the fan will go on to the last setting I had it at, the speed. So right now it's the air is going out. It's got 10 speed, so it's at 10% right now. So take a listen to it. You can't hear anything. I'm going to take it up to 20%. There's 30. Now you can hear it a little bit, but it's not very loud. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. That's 80%. 90%. And then there's 100%. So the neat function with this, it's the air is blowing out right now. So I can hit a button, and what it'll do is the fan will slow down. I just hit it. It'll slow down. And once it slow enough, it reversed. Now it's blowing air into the trailer. So that's all with the touch of a button, which is pretty nice. You can also program this so that it's got a built-in thermostat, so you could set it to maintain a certain temperature in your RV. So you just push it on auto for that. Another setting here is you can close the hood and have the fan running, and I can turn the fan down and it just acts like a ceiling fan, but you don't really feel much air because air isn't really coming in. It's circulating air up there just a little bit, but not really enough to even use it. Probably I'd more than likely use this with the vent open all the time, blow in or out. So I hope this information helped you. So you can control this, like I said, up at the fan itself or with your remote control, which makes it nice. Well, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. It was a pretty easy install. Keep an eye out for when I take the fan that was in this location and move it to the bathroom area, and that should be a nice video. Then I'll be replacing another vent that doesn't have a fan also. So keep an eye out for that. And also, like I mentioned, the solar setup that I'm going to do and the inverter setup. Those should be pretty good videos to watch. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, I hope you subscribe and then hit that all tab so you can get notified of future videos. I appreciate it. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions or share some of your experiences if you have this fan, if you like it or not, in the comments section so others can see what you have to say about it. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care and happy camping.